When I look around at the state of things today, I can't help but feel the weight of what we allowed ourselves to become as a society. Charlie Kirk was murdered today while giving a speech, shot down in front of young people, came to hear ideas. Iryna Zarutska, a 23-year-old who fled the war in Ukraine, survived bombings and terror in her homeland, only to be stabbed to death in a train here in America, right in my home state. It sickens me. Two stories, different people, different places, but the same lesson. We're living in a broken community, a system that was supposed to hold together through trust, discipline, faith, shared values. It's fractured before our eyes. And if we don't do something now, we'll lose more than just individuals. We'll lose the soul of who we are. I can't allow that to happen. You can't allow that to happen. I've been in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria. As an infantry paratrooper in combat, I've seen communities ripped apart by violence. I've seen what happens when the trust in your system collapses, when people stop looking out for one another, when the center no longer holds. And I'll tell you this, once it goes, it doesn't come back easy. The vacuum fills up with predators that only know how to exploit, how to victimize, and live off of victimization. That's why stories like Charlie Kirk's and Iryna's hit me harder than most, because I know where this road leads, and I fought on the front lines of that collapse. I didn't survive jumping out of airplanes, rolling into combat, and burying brothers just to sit back and watch our communities here at home rot from the inside out. I built a Jiu-Jitsu academy here with my friends. We're building real community. Charlie Kirk wasn't just a conservative activist, and this isn't some politically motivated video. He was a man who believed in fighting for something bigger than himself. You can disagree with his politics all day long, but you can't deny that he stood up and put his face out there and was willing to go and take the heat, and he died for it. Gunned down at 31 years old. Think about that. At an age when most young men are still figuring out what kind of life they want to lead and want to live, he had already built a movement, already had millions of people following him, and he was still just beginning. But in a society that has traded responsibility for rage, that has normalized silencing of victims, instead of debating them, the answers came in the form of bullets. And then you think about Iryna. She fled Kyiv when Russia started bombing. She was only 23 years old, and she had already seen enough horror to last a lifetime. She came to America because she thought it would be safe. It's supposed to be safe, that she'd finally be free from the madness of war. But what did she find here? A system that can't even protect its own citizens, much less those that it claims to offer refuge to. She was stabbed to death on a train in broad daylight on our soil, and people just watched. Imagine surviving bombs in Ukraine, houses crumbling, people dying, just to come to a place of freedom and security and to get murdered. That's not just tragic, that's shameful. And that's on us, that's on you, that's on me. That's on the men, it's on the women, it's on our society. But this is the symptoms of a culture that has turned soft in all the wrong ways and hard in all the wrong ways. We've even gotten soft on discipline, soft on family values, soft on accountability. At the same time, we've gotten hard on each other and hard on division, hard on pushing people into camps and treating neighbors like enemies. It's killing us. It's literally killing us. It's killing our kids. It's killing our future. And it's why I believe more than ever that the answer starts small, at the grassroots level, at the community level, with something like Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm not just here to pump Jiu-Jitsu, but this is what it is. Now, some people might laugh when I say that. They'll say Jiu-Jitsu is just another sport than another martial art, just people in pajamas rolling and sweating on the mats. But those people have never lived what I've lived through, and they've never stepped foot what I've stepped foot in, and they've never been in a real Jiu-Jitsu academy. It isn't just training. It's discipline. It's humility. It's brotherhood. It's sisterhood. It's a place where you learn to control yourself before you ever think about controlling someone else. It's a room where you get humbled every single day, and people still show up tomorrow. It's the family you choose, and that family makes you stronger. In my academy here in Alaska, I've got guys who served just like me. We've got single mothers. We've got kids who need fathers. We got kids that don't have any male role models in their families. And I've got fathers who need to remember everything about why they matter and what makes them fathers. They're all here. We've got in-laws. We've got outlaws. They come in, they sweat, they roll, they drill. And in the quiet moments after class, when people laugh and shake hands and talk about their lives, that's where the community is built. It's not just showing up to argue politics. It's showing up to share hardship, to push each other, to hold each other accountable. And I can tell you right now, If Charlie Kirk's killer had grown up on these mats, if Iryna's attacker had been surrounded by that kind of discipline and brotherhood, then maybe these people would be alive. If the people around them had been raised on the mats, maybe they would be alive. And I know that sounds bold, but I mean it. You don't learn to be a coward in jiu-jitsu. You don't learn to be a predator. You learn to control yourself. You learn to respect others. You learn that pain doesn't break you, it builds you. And that's what our society is missing right now. We've got generations who think adversity is oppression and that disagreement is violence. So when real violence comes, they're not ready for it. We need to fix that. We fix it by building stronger people. And the mats are one of the few places left where that's still happening. And let me tell you what I've seen in 20 years of doing this. I've watched kids walk into gyms broken, kids from broken homes who have been told they're not worth it much, told they're not worth anything, told they'll never amount to anything. Kids who have been picked up, picked on, beaten on, thrown down and left to figure it out on their own. I've watched those same kids transform. Not overnight. Nothing is overnight. Not through some magic trick, but through months and years of showing up and getting mentorship from people like me and people at the Jiu-Jitsu Academy, of getting beaten, submitted, and getting back up and learning that the ego does not define you, that your physical strength does not define you. Your mental fortitude does. There's this one kid, let's call him Mark, about 15. His dad had walked out on him when he was 12. His mom was working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. Marcus was angry, man. Angry at God, angry at the world, angry at his dad. First day on the mats, he wanted to fight everybody. He thought he was tough because he'd been in a few scraps at school. He thought the guy about my age who had his own kids, the blue belt didn't hurt Marcus, didn't embarrass him, just controlled him. Showed him that all that rage wasn't strength, it was a weakness. It was taking your cardio, it was stealing your strength. It was letting his emotions run the show. Erratic actions. But Marcus kept coming back. Marcus got submitted every single day for months. And slowly something started to change. He started listening during his instructions. He started asking questions, started helping the answer, started helping new guys, instead of trying to prove he was tougher than them. By the time he graduated high school, Marcus was a different human being. He was disciplined, respectful, strong in ways that matter. He's in college now, studying engineering, still trains when he's home, still remembers what these mats taught him and about who he could become. That's what we are. That's what we're missing here in America. We're missing the places where young boys become men, where young girls become women. We're missing the communities. People learn that strength comes from service, not from selfishness. We're missing the accountability that comes when you're surrounded by people who care enough to take the time and tell you the truth, even when it hurts. They choose the hard right over the easy left. I've been married for 21 years. I've been a father for 20. I've buried friends. I've walked in places where there was no safety net, where life and death were separated by inches. And I'll tell you, the only reason I've kept my head straight, the only reason that I've been able to lead is because of discipline and community, family. That's purpose. That's what we're losing here in America. That's why these tragedies keep happening. And that's why I'm calling anyone who is listening to this still, anyone who's still in the video, to stop waiting for the system to save you and build your own community or become part of a community. Build it through faith, build it through family, build it through jiu-jitsu, find brotherhood, find sisterhood, find jiu-jitsu. Because when I look at what happened to Charlie and Iryna, I don't just see 2 victims. I see society failing. I see a society that failed them. Charlie died because we created a culture where disagreement is treated as violence, where people think that answers to words they don't like is bullets. Iryna died because we created a system where predators are walking free and no judges are held accountable, where mental illness is ignored until it explodes, where communities are so disconnected that a young woman can be stabbed to death on a public transportation and nobody even blinks. Nobody steps in to help. This isn't about your political ideology. I don't play that game. None of them care for you at all. You are a citizen, you're a pawn. This is about human beings who have forgotten how to be human. This is about a society that has prioritized comfort over character, that has chosen to medicate instead of discipline, that has decided it's easier to blame the system than to build a community, become part of the solution. And I'm telling you, as someone who's seen what happens when societies collapse, when communities collapse, we're running out of time. The signs are here. You can see them every day. The violence is escalating. These other radical organizations are calling for violence on their social media. When civilization finally cracks and all the political debates and policies and paperwork doesn't work, that's not going to save you. Strong communities will. The cops are not coming to save you. Nobody is going to step in to save you. If you're not surrounded by a community, it's just you and yourself, which 90% of the time it is. But if you build a community, you have a safety net. This is why I'm talking about jiu-jitsu, not because it's the only answer, because it's the one that's worked for me. It's the one I've seen work time and time again, where respect is earned, not given, where strength is built through struggle, where community is forged through shared hardship. Same in the military. Let me paint you a picture of what I see every night at my academy. When you walk through those doors, you leave everything else behind. Doesn't matter if you're a CEO or a construction worker, there is no rank, no religion, and no politics on the mat. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. It doesn't matter if you're voting Democrat or Republican. On the mats, there is only one question. Are you willing to work? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to be humble enough to get better? Are you going to take care of your training partners? What real community looks like. It's not a bunch of people sitting around agreeing with each other. It's people from different backgrounds, different beliefs, different struggles, different ways to solve problems, coming together around shared values, discipline, respect, self-improvement, family, sacrifice, service to something bigger than yourself, even if it is just one person or two people. And the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu is that it strips away all the pretense. You can't fake it on the mats. You can't talk your way out of submissions. You can't buy your way to a black belt. You have to earn it. One day at a time, one class at a time, one small improvement at a time. And that process, that journey, it builds character in a way that nothing else can. But it's not just about the individuals. It's about what happens when you put a bunch of disciplined, humble, strong individuals together. They don't just form a team, they form a community, a real community. Not the fake online communities where people hide behind keyboards and tear each other down. A community where people show up for each other, where they have each other's backs, where they hold each other accountable. We need accountability. The whole system is missing accountability right now at all levels. I've seen my guys here help each other move houses. I've seen them show up to funerals, weddings. Hell, one of my business partners has married several students, right? We've had people propose in the gym. They build businesses together. I'm on multiple right now. You get multiple shots on goal here. And that's the tragedy in all this. These weren't inevitable crimes. They were preventable if we had stronger communities, if we had more places where people could find belonging and purpose and discipline. These things wouldn't happen, or they would happen a lot less. And we'd also have people to help when they do happen. But instead, we've created a society isolated by individuals, fighting each other and fighting their own battles, and with no help, drowning in their own problems, each looking for someone to blame for their pain. And when you're isolated, when you're that lost, violence starts to look like a real good answer. Hatred starts to feel like purpose, and destruction really starts to feel like creation, I promise. This is why I'm so passionate about what I do, because I know. This is why I keep talking about the mats, why discipline, brotherhood. This is why I talk about it. Because I've been places, communities have collapsed, where trust is broken down, where violence is the only language people remember, and it is the only universal language, by the way, is violence. And I'm telling you, we don't want to go there. We don't want to live in a world where people like Charlie get shot for speaking their minds, where people like Iryna get stabbed in the neck just for existing. But that's where we're headed if we don't change the course. If we don't start building real communities again, if we don't start teaching young people that strength comes from discipline, not destruction, if we don't start showing them there's a better way to live than what they see on social media, on the news, in the broken families, in these fake rap videos that people spend millions of dollars pumping and pumping, broken neighborhoods around them. If we don't stop glamorizing these criminal lifestyles, the answer is not more police. The answer isn't more politicians or more policies or making more promises that we can't keep and creating more laws that we can't enforce. The answer is community. That's it. End of story. I don't care how you build it, how you do it. And maybe that's jiu-jitsu, maybe it's church, maybe it's a community garden, maybe it's a mentorship program, maybe you're going to Challenge Alaska and helping people ski and snowboard. Maybe it's just being the kind of neighbor who actually knows your neighbors, who looks out for each other, who builds relationships instead of walls. But it has to be something, because the status quo is killing us, literally killing us. And if we don't act now, if we don't start building stronger communities now, we're going to lose more people like Charlie Kirks. And it's going to be on both sides. We're going to lose more Irynas. We're going to lose more of the soul of what makes America America, and what makes the people the people. I didn't serve 3 tours overseas. I didn't jump out of airplanes. I didn't drive unarmored vehicles into firefights, and I didn't bury brothers and carry their memories just to come home and watch America eat itself alive. I came home to build something bigger and better. I used what I learned, my successes and failures, what I learned about leadership and brotherhood and sacrifice, to help make my community stronger. And that is my life's mission and my life's goal. And that's what I'm asking you to do. Stop waiting for someone else to fix this. Stop waiting for Washington or Hollywood or Silicon Valley or the tech bros. The answers are in your community. The answers are in your gym, your churches, no matter your religion. The answers are in your relationships. The ones that you build, the disciplines you practice, the values you live by. Jiu-Jitsu doesn't care about your politics. The mat doesn't care about your skin color or your bank account or your ideology. The mat only cares if you show up and put in the work. If you respect your training partners, train to train another day, that's the model we need for society. And that's how we take these broken pieces and start gluing them back together. And until we do, we're going to keep seeing young people gunned down, refugees stabbed, and communities falling apart and being eaten from the inside. That's all I got. You've heard me babble enough. I got tons I could say. I can just keep going. I'm sure you can tell. Drop a comment below. Tell me what you think about this.